Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is called the Drunk Leprechaun, and it is the featured cocktail in today's episode. I'm going to start. Shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add vodka. 1 3/4 ounces. 1 3/4. Not 2, not 1.5. 1 3/4 ounces. Next, orange juice to make it healthy. 3.5 ounces of orange juice. Lots of vitamin C in there. Finally, blue curacao. 1 ounce. Then we shake vigorously. Next we take our glass filled with ice. And we strain our cocktail in there. Ooh, look, boys and girls, it's green. There you have it, the Drunk Leprechaun. Yeah, pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
Do you have springtime allergies? Are you a multiple sneezer? If so, you could be in marital danger, at least according to the lore in this week's episode of the Scary Spirits podcast, Leprechaun 2. In fact, a 1,000-year-old leprechaun might just be waiting patiently for you to sneeze 3 times in a row to claim you for his bride. My advice? Keep an eye out for leprechauns and invest in Claritin just to be safe. Oh, and go easy on the green beer. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hey, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good, Karen. No, I'm better than good, Karen. I'm pretty good.
Wow. You getting excited about St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, that's it, Karen.
Do you
St.
drink
Patrick's Day?
Do you drink the green beer?
No, Karen.
No?
I'm not 21. I'm a beer snob. Don't you know that by now?
I didn't think you were a beer snob. I thought you were like my brother. There's some beers that he doesn't like as much as other beers, but there's no bad beers.
Oh, there's bad beers, Karen.
Not to him.
Okay, well, I am not like your brother then.
They grew up drinking Schaefer. I don't think he drinks that anymore, but
Well, you got to do what you got to do at sometimes. But at this point in my life,
no.
No.
Okay. No green beer. Gotcha. You don't like to celebrate the season. Okay, fine.
no.
Moving on.
I do have an evil leprechaun T-shirt I will probably wear, but other than that,
Okay, so you acknowledge the holiday, but don't drink the green beer.
Also, I'll be wearing my evil leprechaun T-shirt while I'm watching basketball. Usually, that's how it works.
Does it bring you luck?
I've never bet on basketball. I'm always in the
You're in the pool. That's
pool,
betting.
but that's not. Well, I guess, but
I like to throw away my $10 every year. Of course, I choose usually by where I'd rather live. And I do better than some people who choose by statistics and stuff. So,
yeah. Sometimes I'll do a couple brackets, and one of the brackets will be which mascot I think can beat the other one in a fight.
that's a good way. Which color do I like better?
Yes, but then Blue Devils always come out winning. So, because, they're devils. They're Satan, Karen. They're like Damien. They can choke you out just by looking at you.
Well, I don't know. Apparently leprechauns can too. So
True.
You may have to rethink that.
All right, Karen, whose film was it this week? Whose choice was it?
It's my choice. And speaking of leprechauns,
Go on.
I have chosen Leprechaun 2, since we're in sequel mode.
Okay.
You started it.
Probably did, didn't I? Even going back to Dracula's risen from the grave or whatever it was I picked.
You threw down the gauntlet and I picked it right up. Here we are. Leprechaun 2, 1994.
Right. I didn't know we were, on a sequel thing, but I'll make a note, and that may change some of my future picks, Karen.
Great. Because sequels are always so good.
So you picked it just because we're doing sequels, or because St. Patrick's Day, Karen?
Well, both.
Okay.
It's a twofer.
Do we have a cocktail, Karen?
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. Yes, we do have a drink.
And what would that be, Karen?
It actually applies to the movie, which I'm very excited about. It's called The Drunk Leprechaun.
I see what you did there, Karen.
I know. Now I look extra clever, don't I?
And how would we make this concoction, Karen?
You're going to need vodka, orange juice, and blue curacao. So you're going to fill a shaker with ice, add 1 3/4 ounces of vodka, 3.5 ounces of orange juice, and 1 ounce of blue curacao. Shake vigorously. Strain into an ice-filled glass and enjoy. It's basically a vodka and orange juice with a little
color. Blue screwdriver. It's a green screwdriver is what it is.
Yes, it is. It's a very cool color, I will say. It's very appropriate for St. Patrick's Day.
I can't taste the blue curacao, though.
You can?
Yeah.
A little.
I think it's a little too much for me, but I don't think it's the vodka. I think it's the blue curacao but whatever. It's fine. It's good.
I think it's
get better as it sits here in the ice melts.
It's a perfect St. Patty's Day drink.
It is. Better than green beer, Karen.
I don't know. Don't you just add green dye? So any beer could be green beer, right? Doesn't change the taste. Does it?
Yeah, but Karen,
you're too classy. You're just too classy is what you're trying to tell me in so many words.
Okay.
We'll go with that.
Sure. All right. Should we give our friends and listeners time to make their own, Karen?
Of course.
Only 3 ingredients. Common ingredients, too, if you have a bar. Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
All right, Karen, might you have a brief synopsis for us?
I do.
Go on. Tell me a story.
A leprechaun surfaces in Los Angeles to claim a bride, as his previous object of affection was denied to him 1,000 years before in Ireland. He kidnaps teenager Bridget, grotesquely murdering anyone who gets in his way. It falls to Bridget's boyfriend, Cody, to rescue her. Cody enlists the aid of his perpetually tipsy uncle, Morty, who decides to go after the homicidal leprechaun's pot of gold.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief and accurate synopsis.
It's a good synopsis.
It's pretty good. All right, are you ready to get into the film, Karen?
Almost. I do have a question for you.
Okay.
So, Leprechaun was made in 1993. Is that correct? Well, the reason I ask is this was made in 1994, which is only a year later. So I was curious, how much money did Leprechaun make? Did it make a lot of money to warrant a sequel? I know there are many. I think there are 6.
It did, Karen, I believe.
Because they don't appear to be high-budget films.
A bunch of them were not theatrically released. So like 3, 4, 5, a bunch of them weren't. It went like straight to video or whatever, right? Leprechaun and Leprechaun 2 were theatrical releases. It was released in 93, so a year later. The original Leprechaun made $8.6 million.
Oh, okay.
On a budget of $1 million. So they made
that's okay. That's
almost
good.
$8 million. So they rushed the sequel.
Yes, they did. Does it say when it came out? Did it come out for St. Patrick's Day?
I think they missed it.
Oh.
I think it was delayed. Because apparently in some of the scenes you can see when they're in LA at the very beginning of the movie, which we'll get to in a minute, there's a movie theater behind them and it's showing Sister Habit or something. Or Sister Habit 2. I don't know. Some Whoopi Goldberg thing.
Sister Act.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Okay. I didn't notice.
Apparently it came out in December. So they were filming this in December, but it wasn't released until April 8th. So they missed St. Patrick's Day. So I'm sure they were shooting for that, but it was late.
Gotcha.
And this one only made $2.3 million.
With probably a little bit bigger budget, I would guess.
I don't know. Maybe. It's hard to tell from watching it.
It's true. It is. I 100% agree with that.
Any other questions, Karen, before we get started?
No.
Okay.
I mean, some during the film and probably some after, but not right now.
Okay. Did you watch this on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did, and I paid for it, even though you can watch it. You can watch it for free with ads if you'd like. And I might suggest that. Unless you're impatient.
It wasn't. I mean, I wasn't looking at my watch. You know what I mean?
No, it moves pretty quickly, actually, I would say.
So I think commercials might screw that up a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But I watched it there as well. And the first thing we see is rated R, Karen, for nudity, violence, alcohol use, smoking, foul language, and sexual content.
I mean, it looks like a winner. It's got all the biggies.
It does, Karen. So the movie opens, Karen, and we have words to read. Ireland, once upon a time. And we see a man running through the woods.
It's a very stormy night and lots of froggy's fog everywhere.
A leprechaun jumps out from behind a tree or something and begins choking the man.
And he's in kind of serf attire, like he's a slave from the olden days.
So we learn he is the leprechaun's slave.
But this is many years ago.
Once upon a time, Karen.
Yes.
And apparently it is St. Patrick's Day, and it is the leprechaun's birthday. So he is 1,000 years old.
Did you notice when he kind of tackled the slave that he chastises him because his shoes are filthy?
Yes.
Because he's a shoemaker, leprechauns.
I thought it was just comic relief.
Well, it is a little, but the point is he's a shoemaker, which we learned from the first Leprechaun movie.
And we learn that the leprechaun has found a bride.
He has to wait till he's 1,000 years old to take a bride.
According to folklore, apparently. And, Karen, she has to sneeze 3 times without someone saying, God bless you, to her.
Yes, the leprechaun promises the slave, whose name is William, his freedom once he's married.
William O'Day.
Once he gets married to this bride, then William gets his freedom. So William's all for it because he doesn't want to be a slave anymore. And he's like, excellent. I will help you get this fair maiden to be your bride. I will make sure no one says, God bless you.
So then they go to where the fair maiden is, Karen, and apparently she's taking down laundry.
In the middle of the night.
As you do.
Do you?
Yeah, nicely backlit, so you have a nice silhouette against the sheet hanging there on the clothesline, you know.
Yeah, it was pretty.
Yeah, it was. Then she removes the sheet, and the slave tells the leprechaun that that girl is his daughter.
I think the leprechaun knew that.
Did you? I think so, too. She sneezes twice.
He kind of blows out some breath, and it looks like dandelion dust or something goes towards her. And he gets her to sneeze twice. And William's begging the whole time. He says, I'll find you another woman. I'll find someone prettier than this girl.
Then she sneezes the third time. And her father says, God bless you, my child. Leprechaun chokes him and tells him he puts a curse on his family.
Yes, upon his seed.
Yes. On his 2000th birthday, he will wed his descendant. He chokes him out. He gone. And we should say that he's wearing like a choker, right?
A collar.
Like a collar with a lock
like
on
a metal collar, yeah.
So I guess he like using telekinesis squeezes it and makes him choke.
I think he does something with his hand, and I think his neck twists too at that point.
Yeah, I think he did break his neck. Actually, now that you mention it. He gone.
His daughter finds him.
Then we have credits, Karen.
Right after she screams, Leprechaun 2.
And while the credits are playing, we see the leprechaun looking at what appears to be a scroll of the O'Day family tree of all the women.
Yes, only one.
Yeah, just one.
One to the next woman, to the next woman, to the next woman. I didn't count the generations to see if it would be about 1,000 years, but it looked
about right.
It did.
So at one point there's a picture of a ship, Ireland, a ship, and then the United States, and then there's two, and then the last one. So there's like a flapper girl or whatever.
They're pencil drawings of women, and they're in the appropriate clothing for the era. Yeah.
Yes. I did not see any Elizabethan rolls, though, Karen.
Elizabethan collars.
Collars, yeah.
Well, they must not. Well, he was a serf, so it'd be odd if he was all of a sudden rich.
True. Then we have more words to read, Karen. 1,000 years later.
Yes, that's all the words he had to read.
Well, then I saw the sign that said Los Angeles on the building.
True.
So we know we were in Los Angeles. And we see a boy who we learn is Cody trying to sell his dark side tour to a couple on the street.
Yeah, those two actors are famous.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who they are, but I recognize both of them.
The girl is a Saturday Night Live alum, I believe. No, she's not. The girl is Kimmy Robertson.
But she was on Saturday Night Live.
She was in Twin Peaks. That's what she's most known for, apparently.
She has a very distinctive voice. If you watch the movie, you'll recognize
her. Yeah, she reminds me of that, the blonde that was on Saturday Night Live, but it's not.
It's not her?
Nope. They look a lot alike, though.
And they sound alike, too. They both have that kind of baby voice.
Mm-hmm. And then Clint Howard is the other one. He is the younger brother of Ron Howard, Karen.
But he's been in movies.
Yeah, his 200 plus, it says here.
So both of them went on to be more famous than anyone else in the movie.
Yeah, I would say so, except for Warwick.
Except for the Leprechaun.
And I made a note that this must not have been a closed set because people were driving by and like staring at them as they're filming. Like, oh, look at that. They're filming a movie.
Wait for it. I'm in Leprechaun 2. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. There I go. I drove by. I'm uncredited, of course.
Yes. And then we see Bridget, Cody's girlfriend, and apparently they are supposed to spend the afternoon together.
Yes, he's just putting on quite the show to sell these dark side limo tours. He's guilting the one guy in, saying, "Are you too? I understand if you're too afraid to go," and all this stuff. And he finally sells the 4 tickets, and he's filled the limo, so he says he can leave with his girlfriend. He just has to get his uncle.
Karen, it's actually a 1968 Cadillac Superior Sovereign Landaulet funeral coach.
Oh, of course it is.
And I also made a note that there's a Woolworth and Company store behind them. Remember Woolworth and Company, Karen?
I do vaguely remember it.
Well, we were so young in 1994. I understand. Then we meet Morty, Cody's uncle, who is at a bar.
So it's weird. So he sells these tickets. These people are sitting in the car ready to go.
Yes.
And then he leaves to go get his uncle, which I don't know how far away his uncle is. They go to the apartment first looking for him. It's completely trashed. It's disgusting. You know,
I was assuming that the apartment was like above a business right there or something like that. But
he's not in the apartment. So in the meantime, these people are just waiting. It probably takes him 20 minutes to get his uncle to even.
At least.
Yeah. So that was a little weird, but he goes looking for his uncle.
And his uncle is at a bar trying to scam a guy who has passed out on the bar.
Yes. He tries to sell throughout this whole movie 5% of his business as a franchise. So he's trying to franchise his Dark Side limo tours.
So Cody goes to the bar and finds him, tries to sober him up, but Morty is too drunk to drive. He cannot give the tour. So Cody decides he'll do it. He'll drive rather than give these people their money back. So next we see Cody giving the tour with Bridget in the passenger seat.
Morty's drunk. Cody says you never give back money. They have like $300. They're not going to give back the money, you know. So Cody just says he'll do it.
They stop at a home and Cody tells them it's the final home of Bela Lugosi, but a lady comes out and she's not very happy. She runs them off.
She dumps her mop water on him and tells him to get out of there.
Don't need your funeral coach around here. Get out of here. Get off my property.
Get off my lawn.
Then they stop at the Harry Houdini mansion and a homeless man pops up and we have a homeless man jump scare, Karen.
I jumped a little. I'm not going to lie. So you want to know about the ruins of Harry Houdini's house?
Absolutely.
It's very descriptive what I found. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Even on hot, sunny California days, it is cool and dark among the tree-shaded ruins. Because I wanted to know if it was real, this place, and it is.
Yeah.
Crumbling staircases lead to dead ends choked with ivy. Devilish markings are scrawled on the walls of spider-infested caverns. And a faint scent of incense is in the air. Remnants of this house in the hills above Hollywood seem like the perfect haunting grounds for the world's most famous magician, Houdini. Even 63 years after his death, but this is probably old, so it's probably much longer than that, psychics hold seances at the ruins known as the Houdini Estate at midnight on Halloween, the day Houdini died, because he vowed to perform his greatest escape and return from the dead if he could. Local legends persist of people seeing a dark-haired man in a black suit walk the grounds and disappear. Others claim to see a woman dressed in green walking through the archways of the gardens. Treasure hunters have scoured the terraces with metal detectors and pickaxes in search of a box of jewels rumored to be buried there. But there is some doubt that Harry Houdini ever lived in the house on the northeast corner of Laurel Canyon Boulevard and Lookout Mountain Avenue. The place exists. It's called, the remnants of the Harry Houdini house, but no one knows for sure if he actually lived there. But you can go and see it and walk around, apparently.
He would be 151 years old right now.
But when did he die?
Harry Houdini died in 1926, Karen. On Halloween. Isn't that what you said?
Yeah. Well, I said Halloween.
1926.
So is that 87 years ago? No.
97.
97. I was off by sorry. 97 years ago. So my information is old, but I did see recent activity. It appears you can just walk around there, which I'm guessing they filmed some of this there because I bet it's open to the public and it has those nice ruins around.
So after the homeless man scares everybody, they drive off. Next, we see a tree, Karen. The homeless man is wandering the grounds. The tree has a plaque on it that says, "To our friend Harry Houdini from the people of Killarney, Ireland." Homeless man lays there and drops his bottle of booze, and it falls into the base of the tree.
I think it's pulled in.
Could be. He tries to pull it out, and the tree opens up. The leprechaun pops out and takes a swig of the man's whiskey.
He's not impressed.
No, he does not appreciate that it is this blended Canadian.
Because there's only one whiskey.
Irish whiskey, Karen.
That's what he says.
You're a whiskey drinker, Karen.
Am I?
I believe you are. Do you prefer Irish whiskey?
No. I prefer Kentucky whiskey of a certain kind.
Okay. So you prefer bourbon.
Yes, I do. But the homeless man kind of smiles a little because he's confused and something glints a little bit, sparkles, catches the eye of the leprechaun.
Yes, the man has a gold tooth. Leprechaun pulls it out of his mouth.
And the leprechaun speaks in rhyme most of the time.
He does.
So he's like, "Sorry about the pain. I forgot my Novocaine," and rips the tooth out.
And he adds it to his pot of gold.
He does.
Next, the hearse with Cody and Bridget and the tourist are at the go-kart track, Karen, where Bridget and Cody were supposed to meet some friends from school.
Yes. And he tells the customers it's a bathroom break.
Bridget gets out. We meet Ian, who apparently works there. And I wrote, he seems to have a thing for Bridget, Karen.
He does.
And then we have a Rottweiler scare, Karen, don't we? Is that what that dog is?
That is a Rottweiler. That's the guard dog.
His name is Andretti, Karen. Did you make that note?
Yes.
So Bridget gives Cody the cold shoulder. She's not happy.
I'm guessing Cody has made a lot of promises about where they can go and what they can do, and then ends up working the limo, the tour, because Uncle Morty's not sober very often.
Unreliable.
Yes. So I think this is getting frustrating for Bridget.
Cody offers to pick her up later, but she says, "No, that's fine. I'm sure one of the other guys will give me a ride home." And
she's not wrong.
I think Cody says, "Well, I'll make it up to you next time." And Bridget says, "What makes you think there's going to be a next time?"
Yes, she acts like she's breaking up with him, which makes Ian very happy.
Now it's having flashbacks, Karen. But then Cody gets in the car.
Wait. To what?
High school, Karen. You
mean people broke up with you in high school? That can't be, Greg.
Regularly, Karen.
You must be misremembering. That can't possibly be how it went down.
So Cody rushes out in a hurry. He's pissed, gets in the car, punches it, because of course the tourists are pissed too.
Yeah, the tourists are, this sucks. This tour sucks, which they're not wrong. It does kind of.
So he agrees to take them back and
just take us back. So he floors it.
Yeah, and he runs a red light. Then we see a police car chasing him. Cut to the police station. Morty is there to pick up Cody. And while he's there, he hands out pamphlets to all of the police officers.
Still trying to make anybody he meets join the franchise.
As Cody and Morty are sitting there discussing the evening, the homeless man comes in and tells the police about the leprechaun
who stole his tooth. He's all bloody in the front. The only weird thing is why did Morty and Cody Cody comes out. They list a whole bunch of charges, and Morty acts appalled, like, "Oh my God, I'm going to kill him." And the policeman says, "Oh, it's not a big deal. We scared him." It seems like maybe they've done this before. I don't know. Because Cody was driving with only a learner's permit. not an actual license, plus all the other things.
Didn't have a show. I think he had a chauffeur's license or something.
Yeah.
All kinds of other stuff.
But they sit down on a bench instead of just leaving.
Yeah, like,
they
let's
sit
get the
down.
fuck out of here. Now let's have a seat and discuss things.
Did that give you flashbacks too, Greg? Sitting in the police station with your parent?
That did not, Karen. Did it give you flashbacks?
I'm not going to mention that. No, I will tell you. I was just talking to my nieces and nephews. We all went out to a family dinner, and the oldest nephew was saying how he had the strictest rules, and his sisters don't have the same rules. And I was like, okay, back up the truck. I said, there are 5 kids in my family, as you know, and the oldest one is my brother. So I was the oldest girl. My rules were so strict. I had to be home at 11 o'clock, no matter what. There were no cell phones back then. I'm that old. So you couldn't call. You couldn't pretend your cell phone battery died. You couldn't do any of that. You had to be home.
But they couldn't track you either, Karen.
No, they could not, which I will say was useful. So I had to be home at 11. And if I was late, like even 11:10, I got grounded. So finally, I was all mad one time. I'll never forget doing my laundry. I was pulling laundry out of the dryer. My older brother comes up and he goes, Karen, you're going to get grounded if you get home at 11:05 or 12:15. You're going to get grounded, which was a revelation to me because I was always rushing to get home at 11, which I was one of those kids. I was a good kid. I got home at 11 most of the time, but that's not even the point of the story. So later, when we're older and everybody's complaining, I'd be like, I was the only one who had an 11 o'clock curfew. I was the only one who had to be home. I would stop my ranting and my mom would say, and you were the only one I didn't have to pick up at the police station. So I was never at the police station.
But if you got home early enough, Karen, you could always just go back out, right?
I did, yes. Which I had, but I shared a room with my sister. So that was risky because she could tell on me. She did not, but she always lorded it over me that she knew that I climbed out the window and climbed back in. And she could have closed the window too, but she didn't. She was cool. She's a good wingman. Anyway, so no, never been at the police station.
Okay.
I bet you've been once or twice.
Never.
You never got caught?
I'd never been to the police station, Karen.
You never got caught. You must have been a fast runner.
No, I sat in a police car.
Well,
I did do that. Never been to a police station.
You didn't have to call your parents.
Nope.
Nice.
I did make a note, Karen, that there was an old computer on the police desk there. Did you see that computer?
I didn't see it. But
oh my God.
One that took up half the desk?
Yes. With a tiny screen, right? Tiny screen, but it took up the whole. So next we see the leprechaun on the street. And he's spinning his shillelagh around, using it as a compass or some shit to find Bridget, right?
Yes. Yes, he is.
A man comes up to him who we learn is like a talent agent or something and throws a quarter down. Leprechaun is not pleased. He wants gold.
Yeah, he's not impressed with the quarter.
So the man offers him his card, his business card. He's a talent agent. And
because he looks like a really good leprechaun. He's a good looking, leprechaun.
The man has a gold ring on his finger. So Leprechaun rips his finger off and takes his gold ring.
Throws it in his pot.
Next, we see Cody at home in bed looking at pictures of Bridget.
More
flashbacks.
More flashbacks. Polaroids, regular, printed pictures.
Polaroids. I had to Polaroid step.
Yeah, you didn't go through your phone. You were actually physically holding the pictures. He has horror movie posters on his wall.
Yes, he does.
And he's watching a romantic movie, but it doesn't turn out well.
No. The actors on the film kiss, and then they turn into Bridget and Ian. I guess Cody's having imaginations.
Yes, he is.
But next we see Ian, and he's apparently...
wait, we have to go back just a little bit. Sorry. So Cody leaves his room, and Morty's ordered a pizza. And he's standing at the door, timing, and it's 31 minutes. So he opens the door, grabs the pizza, and says it's 31 minutes and it's free because he doesn't have to pay for it. Do you remember that?
I do, Karen.
So I was just curious. When did that start? It was Domino's that did it, right?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So the 30-minute promise for telephone orders has been in effect since 1984. So it's the backbone of Domino's rapid growth into the largest pizza delivery company in the country. That was their policy from 1984 until 1986, when a late arriving pizza was left at no cost to the customer. So for those 2 years, if it was late, said you got it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Since then, customers have been given $3 off their orders because they couldn't do it. Plus, people abused the system, I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't think we had a Domino's and
I don't think we did
grew
either.
up then, did we? Well, I was not living there at the time, so I was away at school, and we had a Domino's there, and I ate that shit several times a week, Karen.
Yeah, because they were one of the few places that would take a check.
Yeah, true. And I got the big plastic carton of Pepsi too, or whatever it was. I think it was Pepsi. I don't know if it was Coke.
Yeah, they were Pepsi. It was Pepsi. And then, so he comes out of his room and he's lamenting about Bridget. And Morty, we find out, he's just like, women are trouble. Take the cash. Always, Morty doesn't like women. He's like, just forget her. And then he starts playing a card game, which I thought might come into something later. It's called 3-Card Monty.
Yes.
So it's also...
I was paying attention, hoping I'd learn something there.
I know, right? You can learn on Wikipedia and other sites how to manipulate the system. But the 3-Card Monty is also known as Find the Lady or the 3-card trick. I'm sure you've seen these people, these street performers do the 3. You follow the card. It's a confidence game.
I've never done it, but yes, I am aware of it.
Well, they trick you.
Yeah, I've never done it though, so.
In which the victims or marks are tricked into betting a sum of money on the assumption they can find the money card among the 3 face-down playing cards. It's very similar to the shell game, except cards are used instead of shells. So it's known as a short con, in which a shill pretends to conspire with the mark to cheat the dealer while in fact doing the reverse. So I didn't know that there are tricks. There's something to do with holding 2 cards in one hand and 1 card in the other hand, and how you distribute them. But they do have accomplices playing the game before you get there, which sometimes it said they're so good at the sleight of hand that sometimes the accomplice doesn't know which one he's supposed to pick. So they have signals to tell them so they know to pick the right one. But so don't play that game. It's not, you're not going to win. But the interesting thing is it was already in use by the 15th century. It's been around that long. So
yeah, I'm sure, like the shell game. Sure.
Yeah. But I
Probably
didn't
where it started.
But I didn't know they cheated like that. I'm so naive, I swear. I mean, I knew they cheated, but I didn't realize they cheated that profoundly, that it was a setup from the start. I realized that they were probably doing something with the cards, but I didn't realize that they were setting you up by letting other people look like they were winning.
So next we see Ian. Apparently he has taken Bridget home. And apparently Bridget's parents are not home, Karen.
Yeah,
They're
Ian
out of
thinks
town.
he deserves something because he took the night off for her and bought her chili dogs.
So he tries to make the moves on Bridget.
He wants to come inside.
He does.
Calls her a tease. She punches him in the gut.
Yeah, he gets a little aggressive and Bridget punches him.
Calls her a stuck-up bitch and leaves. Or at least it looks like he's going to leave.
Yeah, so Ian's going to his car and then he hears Bridget calling him from the garage, Karen.
So this is a little bit, I mean, I know they need kills in this movie, but even in the summary, it says that the leprechaun's going to kill anyone who gets in his way.
Yes.
But Ian was leaving. He was pissed. called her a stuck-up bitch, was going to the car. He was going to leave. So I thought this was a little rude. He didn't deserve to die. He didn't force his way in the house or anything like that. He wasn't trying to sneak in to take advantage. He was leaving, but no.
So Ian goes in and we see the leprechaun hiding in the garage.
So it looks like Bridget's calling Ian from the garage. So of course he goes back in because she's standing there.
And she begins to unbutton her shirt, Karen.
She's so sorry. She's going to make it up to him.
So she unbuttons her shirt, Karen, removes her bra, and we see 2 bare breasts.
Finally, Greg.
Finally. Thank you, Karen.
You're welcome. It's been a dry spell, you know.
And she tells Ian to kiss her. And he goes to kiss her, but he ain't aiming for her lips, Karen.
No, he's not. So I thought she looked like a projection, but I don't know. Maybe they did that on purpose, but he's going to go kiss her. Well, that's what she looks. She's arching and everything. She wants him to kiss her on the breasts, I guess. But what is the machine behind her?
It's a lawnmower.
Oh, it's turned upside down.
Yes.
Okay. I couldn't figure out what it was. So there were 2 blades.
Yeah. So Bridget turns into a double blade lawnmower.
Well, it's just there.
It is
behind.
there.
It's behind the. So what Ian is seeing is like a mirage.
It's what the leprechaun wants him to see.
Yes. The lawnmower behind him is there the whole time, but he can't see it. All he sees is half naked Bridget. And he goes to kiss her, but he doesn't get breast.
No, he does not. He gets his face chopped off and he gone. 32 minutes in, Karen, we have 2 bare breasts. I made a note. 32 minutes.
And then the leprechaun talks using Bridget's voice, so we know that he can make things look different than they are.
And we see Bridget in the house getting food out of the fridge. The doorbell rings and she thinks it is Ian.
Then there's persistent ringing of the doorbell.
Eventually she opens the door and it is Cody with flowers. Red roses, I believe, Karen. And Bridget tells Cody, she could never stay mad at him.
He does apologize and asks for forgiveness.
The leprechaun sneaks in through the window. We see it in the background.
Yeah, we do see it, yeah.
He blows at Bridget and causes her to sneeze once. Of course, Cody believes it's the flowers and she must have allergies.
But they go into the kitchen to get water for the flowers.
She sneezes twice. Cody says Gesundheit.
So close.
And she sneezes a 3rd time. Cody begins to say, God bless you, but the cord from the phone hanging on the wall, Karen, in the kitchen, wraps around his neck and his mouth so he cannot get the words out.
I thought he did get the words out. I rewound it a couple times, and I swear he says, God bless you. But I guess they want us to think he says, God bless. And then the phones used to have really long cords, especially if you were teenagers. I know we've talked about this before.
The wall phones did.
Yes. Yeah. And it wraps all around his neck and his mouth. But he is able to grab a knife and cut himself free.
Yes. Cody takes the knife and goes after the leprechaun. Leprechaun causes the pots and pans to fall down on top of Cody, knocking him out, apparently. Then the leprechaun puts a gold choker on Bridget, and he pulls her towards him telepathically. She knocks over his pot of gold, and one of the gold coins rolls right to Cody.
You did miss where she tries to run out the front door, and Ian's hanging there.
Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, she tries to run out the front door while he's chasing her.
I wondered why she went to the front door and then closed it, locking herself in.
Ian's hanging there with his face gone and bloody. Oh, really? Yeah.
I missed that part.
That's why she doesn't run out the front door. But yes, the coin from the pot of gold rolls intentionally, although he doesn't want it to, into Cody's hand.
So Bridget and Cody try to run away, but the leprechaun hits Cody with a hammer in his foot and grabs Bridget. Cody throws a fireplace poker at him. He catches it, but it burns his hand, Karen.
The leprechaun's hand, yes.
Yes. Cut back to the tree.
Well, the leprechaun says 1,000 years ago, a man stopped me from taking up my bride, I think he says. He'll not let it happen again. And he and Bridget disappear. They just fade off into nothingness. And Cody yells for Bridget as the bell tolls.
Next, we're back at the tree.
It's a huge area under the tree.
The leprechaun gets some Irish whiskey to give to Bridget to put her in the mood, Karen.
He's waited for 1,000 years for this night. Probably 2,000 years, really. He says 1,000, but he's 2,000 years old.
Bridget hits him with a rock and runs through the cave.
And he tells her right before she smacks him that it's an O'Day that's going to be his bride. But she says, I'm not an O'Day. And he says, it's in your blood.
Yes, he can smell it.
Yes. And then she runs and sees a skeleton on the wall. And then the leprechaun says, ooh, it's a family reunion. Because apparently that's the original slave skeleton.
And he catches her and wraps her in a piece of burlap.
And she's on the bed immediately. And she doesn't know how she got there.
Leprechaun explains to her that she will be bearing his children, his wee ones. But first, he will have to make changes to her body and face, apparently. And the leprechaun dumps his pot of gold on Bridget's stomach.
Well, he needs to change her body so she can have a litter. A full
whole
litter.
Yes.
And he needs to change her face so the little ones will feed because they won't if she doesn't look like him. So he's like, many changes. He has to go sharpen his fingernails, he says, which are pretty gross. I should take a minute to say, I think the leprechaun looks good. The makeup's good.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty good.
I think better than the last one.
I feel like there might be a lot more close-ups in this one. So there probably is.
Yeah.
So as he's rubbing the gold on her stomach.
It's kind of like us when we're gonna roll around in our pennies. But yes, he's rubbing the gold all over her seductively. All of a sudden,
he realizes a shilling is missing.
And that is not acceptable to a leprechaun.
Nope. Leprechaun releases Bridget from the burlap, gives her a red dress to put on. He tells her that she will try to escape, but it is hopeless. He's got to go look for his gold shilling.
Have the dress on when I return. And before he leaves, he wants a kiss.
Yes, he does.
And he licks her face with a forked tongue.
Yes.
And leaves a long string of spittle like my dog does when he shakes his head. It's pretty gross. I'd say that was pretty impressive in its grossness. His tongue is forked. It's unpleasant looking. And he just says, that's just a taste of things to come. Hey, you're already halfway through the podcast. What do you think? If you like what you hear, can you take a minute and follow us on social media? At Scary Spirits Podcast. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Thanks so much for listening. Now let's get back to the show.
Next, we're back at Bridget's house, and there's a coroner and the police there, and they're investigating Ian's death. They find Cody's flowers and card and make him their top suspect.
Yeah, how does that even make him a suspect?
Well, apparently they say he's a bad seed or whatever.
I think maybe that, now that I think of it, I think they said they learned that maybe they broke up at the go-kart place.
And I have a feeling that Cody has had run-ins with the law before just because of Morty.
Oh, and he did just get picked up from the police station, so I guess you're right.
The leprechaun is there, and he takes the card with Cody's name on it. Takes it from the hand of the police officer.
I don't know how that's going to help him. All it says is Cody. And he already saw Cody, but I don't know.
Then we see Bridget in her house. And she opens the door to leave, but she winds up back in the cave. Then she begins collecting some rocks. Next, we cut to the streets of New York there, Karen, and the cops are questioning Morty. I assume they're looking for Cody.
Yeah, he sees Cody and gives him the don't come closer signal. And he's trying to sell shares for the franchise to the cops.
Get back to Morty's place, and Morty tells Cody about what happened to Ian. And Cody tells Morty a leprechaun did it. And he shows Morty the gold shilling. They look it up in a book, and it's legit, apparently. It's an old
Morty
coin.
doesn't really believe that Cody saw a leprechaun, and he asks him if he's doing dope.
He says, maybe I should have kept you away from all this dark, macabre stuff or whatever.
But they do read a book that he's gotten from the library. It says that they have telekinetic powers.
Leprechauns.
Yes. They can turn invisible at will. They can only be harmed by wrought iron. They're greedy as hell, love to drink, and they make shoes, and they have little pots of gold. And if you catch them, they have to grant you 3 wishes. And then it also says that on its 1000th birthday, the leprechaun can lay claim to a lass and take a bride, and by daybreak, she was never heard from again, or something like that.
Yep. So they argue about whether leprechauns are real or whatever. And then the leprechaun enters the room there and hits Morty with his shillelagh.
You just like saying that word, don't you?
I do. Shillelagh. So Cody tries to make a deal with the leprechaun. He agrees to trade the coin for Bridget. And the leprechaun promises that, yes, he will do that, but he has his fingers crossed behind his back, Karen.
Yes, he does.
Right before Cody gives the leprechaun the coin, Morty pushes a bookshelf on top of the leprechaun.
Says you can't trust a leprechaun.
Didn't you pay attention to the book?
Yeah, we just read the book that we happen to have in the apartment about old Celtic lore.
As you do. So Cody and Morty get out of the house.
Down the fire escape, because the police are still looking everywhere for Cody.
As they're going out the window, the leprechaun grabs Cody's foot. But Cody pushes the metal bars over the window. The leprechaun grabs them and burns his hands. And we see Morty and Cody at the bar we were at earlier.
Brennan's. They go there because they know it'll be packed for St. Patrick's Day, and they can kind of hide a little bit.
They're in the bathroom trying to come up with a plan. Morty leaves because he's going to get a drink. And Cody goes to relieve himself, and we see a little person come in. And we're led to believe it's a leprechaun, but it is not, Karen. It's just a little person giving out chocolate coins.
But he's dressed as a leprechaun because it's St. Patrick's Day. And that is the most disgusting bathroom. It was just gross.
So Cody goes back into the bar, and we see lots of little people walking around.
But the small person that had come into the bathroom had a gold tooth in his mouth when he smiled. And that made Cody remember about the guy at the police station and where he was from, Houdini's ruins. And he said a leprechaun stole his tooth, and he came out of the tree. So he says, that's where Bridget is. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah, tells Morty.
Yeah.
And then we see, well, Morty's not paying attention. He's looking right through Cody as he's talking. And Morty says, he's here. And then we pan and see the leprechaun sitting at the end of the bar. Leprechaun comes over and sits next to them. And Morty offers a toast to the leprechaun's health on his wedding day.
Yeah, Morty says, I have an idea. And so he starts with the toast. So everybody drinks.
And he pours him a shot, the leprechaun, a shot of whiskey. Then Morty teases the leprechaun, saying he can't hold his liquor because the leprechaun's not drinking.
Right. And all the patrons laugh at him for not drinking the whiskey.
So then the leprechaun and Morty have a drinking contest.
And earlier, the very beginning, when Cody goes in to get his Uncle Morty at the bar, the bartender cuts him off by giving him a special rye, he calls it. red rye or something, which is
Yes.
just like Coke and water, because he's cut him off. But I guess if you're drunk enough, you can't tell what you're drinking. I don't know. But so Morty asks the bartender
Don't
for
you, Karen?
a bottle of special rye for him. So he's not drinking alcohol. Morty isn't, but the
Correct.
leprechaun is. So the leprechaun is basically shamed into it because everyone at the bar is like, oh, he can't hold his liquor. He can't hold his whiskey. And they're laughing at him. So he goes all in.
Leprechaun downs the whole bottle of whiskey.
More than one. There's like 3 or 4 there
And we cut
eventually.
later. Yeah,
Yeah.
and there are more. And the little people in the bar all cheer him on. Cut to Bridget back in the cave with her bunch of rocks she's been collecting, which I don't know what the hell she's doing.
I thought she was going to knock him over the head with a bag of them, but no.
But she tries to use them to mark where she is going in the cave so she does not get lost or whatever. Kind of like Hansel and Gretel, right?
Yeah.
With their breadcrumbs. But they disappear one by one, Karen. They're magic rocks. Back at the bar, the leprechaun's drunk. And he tries to use his telekinesis, I think, to hit them with an ashtray.
Yeah.
But he's too drunk. He can't steer it, apparently. And that's when Morty says, ha, ha, I tricked you, whatever. And the leprechaun starts the jukebox, distracting them. And then while they turn to look away, the leprechaun hits Morty with the bottle of whiskey and runs away. Cody says he has an idea.
Well, Cody goes to check for him, tries to catch him. But when he looks out the door, he's gone.
These two are
the leprechaun is gone. Yeah.
Morty and Cody are just both full of ideas, Karen.
Well, this is actually a good one. The idea.
Cut to Bridget at the cave. She finds a box and breaks into it. And it appears to be full of the leprechaun's possessions. But she finds an awl, Karen.
Yes, she does.
An awl.
Did we talk about that in the last one?
I don't know. I know I've talked about an awl before.
Because it's probably from his shoemaking. It's a small pointed tool used for piercing holes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Especially
you're right.
in leather. So I think we did talk about it, but that's why he would have that tool.
And we cut to the leprechaun, apparently at another bar.
She's happy she found it. She like touches the end and it's very sharp and she smiles. So we know, she practices stabbing him. Like she makes the stabbing motions.
We cut to the leprechaun at another bar, apparently.
It's an espresso bar.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Because he's sobering up.
Gotcha. But the guy, the barista, I guess,
Yes, barista.
There wants him to pay up so that he can leave, close for the night. Do you recognize the barista, Karen?
No, who is it?
Michael McDonald. He was on Mad TV.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
Okay. But the leprechaun stabs his hands with forks. So basically nailing him to the bar or barista or whatever it is. I don't know.
No, it's a bar.
Okay.
On either side of the espresso maker.
Okay.
His hands are straddling basically the espresso maker. So he can't move because his hands are pinned to the bar with forks or knives. I couldn't tell which.
Forks.
And espresso uses a lot of steam, hot steam. I think it's to make the milk and stuff. I don't drink coffee, so I don't know. But I think they froth the milk with the steam. So there's a steam pipe kind of that comes out of the machine.
So the steam pipe turns, and so it's facing the barista.
Right in the face.
So he gets hit with a bunch of hot steam at his head, and basically he gone at the end.
His face basically melts off.
Yeah. We cut to Cody and Morty, and they're at the go-kart track. Cody gives the Rottweiler some beef jerky he took from the bar.
To bribe him.
Yes.
And I didn't really get why the dog was important at all until a few minutes later than this. Because I couldn't, why do they need to even have a dog there? I don't get it. But You get it in a minute.
Well, in the beginning, when we first see the dog, we are seeing what the dog sees, so we think it's the leprechaun, and then it turns out to be a dog.
But still.
So Cody's plan is to take the safe in the go-kart place there and trap the leprechaun.
Yeah, because the safe is wrought iron.
So they're wheeling the safe out, and it's too heavy to pick up, so they need something to get it into the hearse, or the 1968 Cadillac Superior Sovereign Landaulet funeral coach. So Cody goes to look for something to make a ramp as Morty goes to get the car and pull it around. Morty is stopped by a security guard. Apparently they triggered a silent alarm. And he is handcuffed to the hearse. Security guard looks for Cody. The security guard goes and looks for Cody because he believes there are other perps.
I would say the security guard is one of the worst actors in the movie. You think?
I don't know.
He overdoes it.
He plays a good overzealous security guard.
But did you notice when he's holding the flashlight, he holds it wrong?
No, I didn't, Karen.
He does not hold it like a security guard would be trained to hold it.
Oh, did not notice. I have not taken any security guard training, Karen.
You know the policemen always hold the flashlight a certain way.
Do I? Do I know that?
You know it.
Have I seen lots of policemen holding flashlights at me, Karen? Is that what you're trying to say?
I meant in the movies, but whatever.
Okay. Cody is hiding in the drop ceiling, and then the leprechaun is up there too. Cody falls through the ceiling and tries to run away. Security guard goes back to the hearse and unlocks the handcuffs, and the security guard hears a noise as he turns. Morty knocks him out or whatever.
Well, okay, so the whole time the leprechaun is chasing him, he says, I want me gold. I want me gold. Kind of like Better Off Dead with I want my $2. Have you seen that movie?
No, Karen.
So the paper, I think I've brought it up before because I think it's funny. And probably during the first Leprechaun movie, I probably mentioned it. It has John Cusack in it, and they owe the paper boy $2. So everywhere John Cusack goes, this little kid shows up. I want my $2. And they're skiing, going down the hill, and the little kid skis by. He's like, I want my $2. So it just reminds me the leprechaun keeps saying, I want me gold. I want me gold everywhere he shows up. But the security guard says to Morty, this is probably, I thought, the best line in the whole movie. Don't try anything. I've had 60 hours of combat training. And then the security guard gets distracted because there's a crash when Cody falls out of the ceiling or breaks glass or whatever. And Morty punches him and knocks him out and says, should have been 65.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
And then the leprechaun comes up and hits Morty with his shillelagh. A shillelagh, Karen. So next we see Cody behind the door, but looking through the window at the leprechaun holding the gold coin, telling him to come and get it.
And this is where the dog becomes important, because what does the leprechaun do?
The leprechaun goes through the dog door, Karen, under at the bottom of the door. And Cody, being a clever young lad, has placed the safe there. So the leprechaun jumps through the door right into the safe, and Cody locks him in.
Yeah, he's got him. Because it's wrought iron safe. So every time the leprechaun hits a side, it sparks. So he's very uncomfortable.
So then Morty comes in, tells Cody, hey, we still needed something to build a ramp to put this in the car.
So Cody goes into the closet to get the 2x4s he saw in there.
And Morty locks him in.
Yeah. Who told Cody in the apartment, never trust a leprechaun. Have you not been listening? Never trust a leprechaun. So what does Morty do?
Well, Morty's greedy as well.
Yes,
Karen.
he is. he wants some dollars.
He wants his 3 wishes from the leprechaun.
So the whole time he's going to go through this 3 wishes thing, Cody is screaming bloody murder. Stop, don't do it. Stop, stop. But go ahead. Tell him what Morty does.
Morty says he wants his 3 wishes. And he says his first wish is that he wants the leprechaun's pot of gold.
As he says, I could wish for $1 million. I could wish for $1 billion. Which I'm thinking, why didn't you? But no, he wants the leprechauns. It's personal at this point. He wants the leprechaun's pot of gold.
So the leprechaun puts the pot of gold in Morty's stomach.
You can hear it like a slot machine falling in, and his stomach's getting bigger and bigger.
And bigger. It expands. So then Morty, of course he wants it out of him. So his second wish is that he wishes the leprechaun out of the safe.
Yes.
Because the leprechaun can't take it out unless he's out of the safe.
And Morty's in a lot of pain because he's got a pot of gold in his gut. I mean, it's in his stomach. And his stomach is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It looks like he's going to blow up like a bloated whale.
The leprechaun tells Morty that he can't open the door. Morty has to do it because it's wrought iron, right? He has to open the door for him. So Morty opens the door to the safe so the leprechaun can take the gold out of his stomach. Then Morty's third wish is he wishes the leprechaun to get the gold out of him. The leprechaun slices Morty open and takes the gold.
Yeah. So there are his 3 wishes.
Yep.
He's out of wishes.
They gone and he gone. So somehow Cody finds a way out of the closet. I kind of missed that. I kind of saw that.
There was a window in the back that he breaks through.
The leprechaun goes in there to look for him and he's not there. So he makes himself invisible. So Cody comes out and runs around the building and goes into the front door and finds Morty. He gone, as we already know. Security guard then comes in and catches Cody. The leprechaun changes his voice to that of a female and lures them into the go-kart track.
And the security guard does say to Cody, I know who you are. The whole town's looking for you for the murder of Ian. But yes, you hear, help me, help me.
Leprechaun tries to run them over with his go-kart.
Cody says, don't go after her. It's a trick, but the security guard won't believe him. But now the leprechaun all of a sudden has this souped up go-kart with gold paint that says, I want me gold on it, and spikes all over it, like dinosaur horns or something, it looks like.
Yeah, he's a leprechaun. He's magic. He can do stuff like that.
Yep.
And he chases after the security guard, eventually running him over, and security guard gone.
Yeah, the security guard was shooting at him, and he kept missing him, so he must have went to the Star Wars Academy of...
He wasn't aiming. He was one of those, like, had his hands at his hips, like the Westerns. So then the leprechaun demands his gold from Cody. And Cody says that he will have to kill him first to get his coin. And he says, all right, so be it. So the leprechaun tries to run over Cody, but he goes right through him, Karen.
Yeah, that was weird. I didn't understand that at first.
Yes, apparently the coin protects Cody somehow, I wrote.
That's new.
Apparently he has to give it to the leprechaun. The leprechaun can't take it or something.
Well, as long as he's holding it, he's protected, yeah.
Then the leprechaun disappears.
Cody yells, I'm going to save Bridget, and then I'm going to get you. You can't hide. I know where you live.
All right. Cody grabs a wrought iron bar, Karen, or rod.
That just happens to be sitting there in the office of the go-kart.
Sure, yeah. I have a bunch of those, Karen. It's just rebar, right?
Cut to a reasonable length.
Yeah. You can buy them 2 foot, 18 inches, whatever.
Well, no leprechauns coming in your house.
Let's cut back to the cave. Bridget is there in her lovely red velvet dress, Karen. Apparently she found time to curl her hair or get a perm.
Put some hot rollers in.
Or something as well, because she has nice curly hair. I like her hair. I like her hair better here than I did earlier. She was looking pretty good, Karen. And she tries to seduce the leprechaun.
So she can stab him. Yeah.
She tries to stab him with the awl, but it bends when it hit him, Karen.
And he's pissed because that was his favorite awl. Yes. His dad gave him that tool.
That's why it was locked in the box.
Yes, I think those were his treasures. There were a couple pipes, some Guinness, a couple of gold things.
Then Cody arrives. And Bridget is tied to the bed, ? I wrote.
He locks her up by the choker on her neck.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so she's connected to the bed somehow with the choker. Did you notice the weird music when Cody arrives? It's like weird techno 80s. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know why they were playing that, but that's the first music I noticed.
Yeah, it sounded familiar to me at first.
Yeah, I'm
Then
like, was it like a
got
sitcom
weird.
music or something? I don't know. It did sound familiar and then it didn't. You're right.
So then green bugs begin to fall on Cody. The leprechaun appears and Cody runs through the cave, being chased by the leprechaun. Then he is attacked by the skeleton we saw earlier, apparently being controlled by the leprechaun.
Yeah, the skeleton is trying to get his hands into the pockets of his pants to get the coin. I thought that was kind of funny.
And we cut to Bridget, and she is trying to grab the awl with her feet.
Because she can't move. Yeah, so she's trying to reach the awl so she can.
That's on the ground.
Yeah.
Cody grabs a log or something and smashes the skull of the skeleton, and it falls. And he hears the leprechaun run away, but the skeleton gets back up. Cut back to Bridget, and she has reached the awl with her feet, and she was pulling it towards her. Cody grabs the iron rod that he actually stabbed the skeleton with, although it didn't do anything.
Well, it's a skeleton.
And he goes looking for Bridget and the leprechaun. And he falls into a pit and is grabbed by vines.
Yeah, and like brambles, because he's getting cut, it looks like.
Leprechaun's in there and tells him to give up and he will set him free. All he wants is the gold shilling. Cody says no. And then the vines just disappear.
Yeah, and he's not cut up anymore. It's weird. I guess it was an illusion.
Then Cody finds Bridget, and then the leprechaun explodes out of a rock.
Out of the paper mache rock, which I noticed earlier was a bad looking rock, but
Bridget tells Cody to run. And she has the awl, and she is trying to undo the pin in the hinge that holds her neck restraint with, the awl there. She does get it open, and she throws it at the leprechaun, knocking his hat off. Both Bridget and Cody run away.
In different directions.
Cody finds Bridget, and they try to find a way out of the cave, although Bridget says she's tried. They run through different passages, and every time they wind up right back where they started, Karen.
Yeah, they try everything, but they keep coming back to where they started from.
And then doesn't Cody say, I have an idea? And then they run in and they get separated, right?
Yeah, I don't know what his idea was, because...
So they get separated, and he goes back to try to find her. He does find her, and she tries to convince him to give her the coin that she has found a way out.
Yes, and let's leave the coin, because then he won't follow us if we leave the coin.
And then they kiss, Karen.
Yes, they do.
And Cody gives her a coin.
Yes, a gold coin.
And then she laughs and turns into the leprechaun. Then the leprechaun makes Bridget reappear, and she pleads with him not to hurt Cody.
And she'll go with him, she says. I'll go with you if you don't hurt Cody.
Cody goes after the leprechaun with the iron rod, and he uses his force power to push him back, just like Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back, Karen. And he appears to be impaled by the iron rod, I wrote.
He does.
Then Cody jumps up as Bridget is having some interaction with the leprechaun.
So is he dead?
Yeah. Cody jumps up and stabs the leprechaun with the iron rod. He takes the coin from the leprechaun and tells him it is just milk chocolate.
Which is what he got from the leprechaun in the bathroom.
The
Did
little
we
person
mention
in
that?
the bathroom. Yes.
Yeah. Dressed as a leprechaun in the bathroom. He got real milk chocolate coins, which amazingly did not melt in his pocket, because that will happen.
Well, it's LA. It's March. It's chilly.
It's snowing out there now.
So he and Bridget run out of the tree as the leprechaun explodes.
I said, wow, that's gross. He really explodes and pieces start falling everywhere. They have good sound effects with the explosion. It does sound like flesh pieces hitting the ground.
I think Bridget asks Cody how he knew it wasn't her. And he says that the leprechaun kiss is different than her.
That's what he says.
So Bridget asks Cody if he's going to keep the coin. He says it's not worth it, and he flips it over his shoulder, and it lands in the dirt. They walk down the stairs of the Houdini ruins and kiss. The end. Credits.
So I have a question.
Go on.
All of LA is looking for Cody to blame Ian's death on him. What's different? They come walking out of the tree. How are they going to explain? They blew up the leprechaun. He's in pieces. Morty is dead. The security guard is dead. He has to leave LA because he's going to be wanted for all of these murders. I mean, I don't know how old he's supposed to be either, but he has no guardian.
Yeah, now he doesn't. You're right.
Right. It's just nothing changed. They didn't prove that the leprechaun did anything, so he's still on the hook for everything.
Once again, Karen, you're overthinking it.
You can't just walk away with the birds chirping and the
But there's sequel
face.
potential, right, Karen?
Well, yeah, because they did throw the coin, and the coin, they do
I think there
linger.
was some ominous music too there.
Yeah, and the camera did linger on the gold coin.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, yes, Karen, you are right. Wowsy, wowsy, woo, woo. I was just enjoying it in the moment. I wasn't thinking about.
You were just so
stupid.
excited that they both
He's still
got out
wanted
of the tree.
for murder. What's he going to do?
Minor technical detail.
And hell, they'll probably try to pin, Morty's death on him too, right?
Yeah, because he was there.
And the security guard.
That's what I said. Yes, at least 3 murders.
All right. But what did you really like about the film, Karen?
I liked the makeup on the leprechaun. I thought that was good. I think it was better than the last one, but I'm not sure. I think he's good as the leprechaun. I liked the story that they made up about the 1,000 years that you can take a bride. That's interesting. Something different, and they kept a lot of the original lore with the shoe references and the pot of gold, the pot of gold. And they do stick to the lore pretty well, which I like that. And I like that the sequel potential is there. I'm sure the sequel from this one on is horrible, but the potential is there. That's pretty much it. What about you?
I mostly agree with you. Yeah, the leprechaun's makeup, I think, was my favorite thing of the whole thing.
Yeah, his costume. I think, and he as the actor, I think the whole package of the leprechaun is the best part of the movie.
Yeah, I agree. What didn't you like, Karen?
The acting's not great. I had
the other actors.
Yes.
Morty's pretty good. I like Morty.
Morty was convincing as, a deadbeat uncle, kind of, but who loves his nephew. He was okay, but the rest of the acting I didn't think was very good. Like, there's just weird things. Like, I didn't think Ian deserved to die because he was leaving. There was no reason to kill him, but his death I guess the concept of that was kind of interesting, that there's a mirage and then
bare breast and turns into 2 spitting blades.
Yeah. I think you would have been in trouble, Greg. I'm just saying.
No, I don't know.
But I don't know. The sets weren't great. I mean, the tunnels.
The cave wasn't great.
No, not at all.
It did look like paper mache.
It's not.
Skeleton was pretty cool.
It's not a good movie, but it's not horrible. I mean, I think what makes it an okay movie is it is what you expect it to be. I didn't expect anything better than what I got. What about you?
It is a horror comedy, right?
Well, and I think without who is the actor?
Warwick Davis.
Warwick Davis. Without him, this movie is total crap. With him, I think he understands the camp that he's making. I don't think he's expecting, it's not Shakespeare to him. It's not, an Academy Award winning movie. He knows what it is and he plays it that way. And I think he makes the whole movie. But beyond him, there's not a whole bunch to like, but it has a consistent story. I mean, what did you not like about it?
Well, as we said, the sets, first time I saw that cave, I was like, well, that looks like paper mache. Like,
yeah, it's terrible.
Big brown.
It's all brown.
Paper,
yes.
Paper mache. Yeah, I'm very familiar with that because I use it myself for things. I mean, I didn't really hate anything. I mean,
that's the thing. It's hard to come up with
the acting is bad.
Like, but yeah, the acting is
Cody's bad, I think. Morty's pretty good. Bridget, she's fine. I mean, she's not in it a lot, really, honestly.
Yeah, but she wasn't good. Ian's not good. Dog was good. Dog did his job. Kudos to him.
True, he did.
Security guard, I didn't like.
I thought he was.
The bar patrons are
convincing.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I guess everything's just okay.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's exactly what you expect it to be.
Right. It is.
So you're not disappointed because you know what you're getting. If you were expecting something really good, you would be disappointed in it. But everybody knows at this point, especially as the sequel, you know exactly what it's going to be like.
All right, Karen, what kind of cocktail rating you want to give it?
Do you think it was worse than the first one? I think it was slightly worse.
Was it?
I think the acting was better in the first one.
Probably because it had Jennifer Aniston.
Well, it had her, but even the kind of slow kid and then the smart alecky kid, they were better.
It was better.
Yeah, the acting was better for sure. So if we gave that one a 3, we have to give this one a 4.
Did we give the other one a 3?
I'm pretty sure we did.
Episode 47, Karen. We gave it 3 cocktails.
Yeah.
So this is 4.
Yeah, this is a 4. But it's pretty easy to watch. It doesn't drag. There's enough deaths in it to keep you interested, and it moves at a fairly quick pace.
How many deaths are there, Karen? I guess.
5.
You are correct, Karen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Would you be interested in hearing some reviews from 1994 when this film came out?
I would love to, Greg. What do you got?
So the first one I have here is from the Austin Chronicle. I will paraphrase. If you saw the first film, you know what it's about already, because it's completely the same film with different victims. Rodman Flender, yeah, right. That's the director's name, apparently. And this guy doesn't believe it's a real person, but it is. Has cast his hat into the splatter movie ring with what can only be called stylistic consistency. The sets are apparently left over from some ancient Star Wars episode. The acting, for the most part, is so wooden, Abe Lincoln could have built a log cabin out of it. The cinematography is apparently non-union, and the gore effects are of the Caro syrup and food color variety. Rodman Felder, ? Well, hey, I wouldn't want my real name on this either. But it is his real name. I did look that up. So that's from the Austin Chronicle. Then we have this, Karen, from TV Guide. You remember the TV Guide, Karen?
I do remember the TV Guide.
Here we go. What's a dumber idea than a movie about a killer leprechaun? A second movie about a killer leprechaun. At best, this sequel marks only a very slight improvement over the financially successful original. Considering how ludicrous the original Leprechaun was, the sequel has nowhere to go but up, and the presence of director Rodman Felder, who was actually it makes a Roger Corman protege, was a surprising sign. But it's clear that Felder was thwarted by the impoverished budget, rust production, and lousy script. Credit the writers for making this story something more than a parade of victims slasher-style flick. Now, discredit them for the script's awkward development, lame dialogue, ridiculous mythology, and crude attempts at black humor. There are a few clever moments scattered here and there. Davis, at least, seems to be having fun in the title role, but while Durkin, who played Bridget, is undeniably gorgeous, her acting leaves a lot to be desired. And she's subjected to the least convincing body doubling in cinema history. I guess he thinks those weren't her real breasts, Karen. They were a body double. Leprechaun 2 proves that good things don't always come in small packages.
I agree. I think he did look like he was having fun. That's why he saves the film.
I have one more, Karen.
Oh, okay.
From the LA Times, which is rather positive.
And so you saved it for last?
Not all critics did not like this film, apparently. He says, Leprechaun 2 unfolds in a classically mythical manner with the young suitor determined to save his lady fair from a fate worse than death.
That's not what it is.
Faced with an inevitable plot, the writers have balanced with considerable humor, well-drawn and engaging characters, and some smart one-liners. Heath and Durkin, who are Cody and Bridget, are totally believable, down-to-earth young couple coping gamely with horrendous supernatural events. Baron, who plays Morty, is perfectly cast as an outrageous yet enduring Sharpie, a relentless con man with a Charles Bukowski seediness and street smarts who, nonetheless, genuinely loves his orphaned nephew. Its gore is in the theatrical, comical tradition. Its pace never lags, thanks to director Rodman Felder, a Roger Corman alumnus. So he thought the acting was great, apparently.
I don't think he watched the film.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Well, it's interesting. They do mention things that we mentioned. The pace was fine. I didn't think the gore was that bad.
No, it's not.
The end results were good. When they showed the coffee barista after he was burned, he looked pretty gory. When it was happening, it wasn't that great. But, it's not going to be a great movie. You know that going in. But is it entertaining? I think it's entertaining because of the Leprechaun.
Funny you mentioned that the LA Times guy, you don't think he saw the movie? He calls Cody Joe in his review. So maybe he didn't. Shit, I don't know. I mean, it was worth the $3.99. I guess I paid for it, I think.
I was mildly entertained.
Yeah, I was. And I was hoping it would be, what it was. Kind of. You know what I mean? It was entertaining, but
it's comedy horror.
But it's a 4.
Yes.
All right. What about our drunk leprechaun, Karen?
Well, I like it.
I have a little left.
Does that mean you didn't like it?
It's fine.
It's a screwdriver.
It's actually better. Like I said, it gets better as it sits because ice melts.
Yeah.
Definitely get the vitamin C, Karen. I feel invigorated.
Well, I'm always thinking of you. That's why I wanted to make sure it was healthy.
All right. Anything we learned today, Karen?
Oh, what did we learn? We learned about Houdini's
ruins.
We learned about the awl. We learned about Domino's 30-minute guarantee or your pizza's free. How long that lasted. We learned about 3-card Monty. Pretty sure you got a Star Wars reference in there.
Mm-hmm. We learned that Karen likes bourbon.
I think we already knew that.
Kentucky bourbon.
Well, that's the only true bourbon.
Not anymore, I don't think. The rules have been laxed. All right, Karen. Next movie. Is it my choice?
It is.
Well, Karen, our next episode, I believe, will be episode 100.
Dun, 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 dun. What's it going to be?
So the blockbuster I have chosen for next episode, Karen, is a film called Kingdom of the Spiders.
Okay. I'm scared to ask, but why did you pick that one? Are there 100 spiders in it?
Well, Karen, our next episode comes out on March 22nd, which just happens to be the birthday of one William Shatner.
Oh, no.
And he stars in this blockbuster film from 1977.
I hope you have a good, strong drink to go with this one.
I do, Karen.
Excellent. What is it?
The drink I've chosen is called Spider Venom.
Okay. What are we going to need for that, Greg?
We're going to need spiced rum,
Okay.
tequila,
Oh, no.
Fireball,
Oh, okay.
and some cherry apple juice to make it healthy.
Cherry apple juice.
Yes, it's Spider Venom.
Okay. That
Got all your favorites, Karen.
does it.
Spiced rum, tequila, and Fireball, which is a whiskey, by the way, technically, I believe. All right, Karen, anyone you need to thank?
Well, I'd like to thank our listener. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Thank you for spending time with us. What about you, Greg?
Karen, I need to thank Ahmad for subscribing to our YouTube channel. You know who you are.
Thank you.
And the band Verse 13 for providing all of the music in the Scary Spirits podcast.
The music definitely makes the podcast better.
Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly,
Yes.
even if it's green beer,
No.
or especially if it's green beer.
Only if it's a quarter.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for listening to the Scary Spirits podcast, where the movies might be iffy, but the drinks are always solid. We would love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast, or go to our website, scaryspirits.com. And if you want the direct line, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. If you really want to help us out, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And remember, always drink responsibly. See you next week.